Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in the entertainment world lately: Disney's recent admission that The Mandalorian and Grogu didn't exactly light up the box office. Now, before we get into the numbers and the corporate speak, let me just say this. Personally, I think this is a fascinating moment for the Star Wars franchise. It's not just about a movie underperforming, it's about what that underperformance reveals about the broader strategy of a media giant like Disney. So, let's break it down. First off, the hook here is pretty straightforward. Disney's CEO, Josh D'Amaro, came out and said it: The Mandalorian and Grogu didn't meet box office expectations. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of just shrugging it off, Disney framed this as part of a bigger picture. What makes this really interesting is how they're spinning it. They're not just saying, "Oh well, we missed the mark." They're saying, even though the movie didn't do great in theaters, it still drove revenue in other areas. Toy sales, theme park attendance, gaming. Apparently, Grogu's cute little face is still moving merchandise. And that's a smart move, right? It's like they're saying, we are not just a movie studio, we are a brand ecosystem. But here's where I have to pause and reflect. In my opinion, this strategy is both brilliant and risky. On one hand, it shows Disney's ability to diversify its revenue streams. They're not putting all their eggs in the theatrical basket, which is smart given how unpredictable the film industry can be. I mean, let's be real, movies are a gamble. Even with a franchise as big as Star Wars, there's no guarantee it'll hit $1 billion. So, having other revenue streams to fall back on is a no-brainer. But on the other hand, what does it say about the health of the Star Wars franchise if its movies aren't consistently knocking it out of the park? One thing that immediately stands out is the potential long-term impact on the brand. If fans start to see Star Wars movies as just okay, that could erode the magic over time. Now, let's talk numbers for a second. The Mandalorian and Grogu cost around $165 million to make, plus marketing, and it grossed $345 million globally. From my perspective, that's not a disaster, but it's definitely not a home run either. What many people don't realize is that for a Star Wars movie, those numbers are pretty low. I mean, Solo, which is often considered a flop, still managed to pull in $392 million back in 2018. So, this raises a deeper question: is the Star Wars fatigue real? Or is it just that this particular movie didn't resonate with audiences? A detail I find fascinating is Disney's framing of this as a portfolio game. Their CFO, Hugh Johnston, basically said, "Hey, some movies will do great, some won't, but we've got other stuff to fall back on." And that's true. Disney isn't just a movie studio, they're a theme park operator, a merchandise seller, a streaming service. But here's the thing: if you take a step back and think about it, this approach could also dilute the impact of their movies. If every movie is just another piece of the puzzle, does it lose its uniqueness? Does it become just another product instead of an event? What this really suggests is that Disney is playing the long game. They're not just thinking about box office numbers, they're thinking about brand longevity. And that's where The Mandalorian and Grogu fits in. Even if the movie didn't break records, it kept the Star Wars name in the conversation. It kept the merchandise moving. It kept people coming to the parks. In a way, it did its job, just not in the way we're used to measuring success. But let's not forget the elephant in the room: the Star Wars franchise has had its ups and downs lately. The Rise of Skywalker was divisive, the Disney Plus shows have been hit or miss, and now this. Personally, I think Disney needs to be careful here. If they keep releasing content that feels just okay, they risk losing the hardcore fans who've been with the franchise for decades. What this really suggests is that they need to strike a balance between quantity and quality. Because at the end of the day, Star Wars is more than just a money-making machine, it's a cultural phenomenon. So, where does this leave us? Well, Disney's already looking ahead to their next Star Wars project, Star Wars: Starfighter, set for 2027. And honestly, I'm intrigued. With Ryan Gosling on board and Sean Levi directing, it feels like they're trying to shake things up. But here's my closing thought: as much as I love the idea of new Star Wars content, I hope Disney takes a moment to reflect on what makes the franchise special. Because if they keep treating it like just another product in their portfolio, they might lose the very thing that makes it magical. And that, my friends, would be a real disappointment. So, what do you think? Is Disney's strategy here a stroke of genius, or are they spreading themselves too thin? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive. Until next time, keep thinking critically and stay curious.